Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I am Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is Loving Longevity. And can I tell you that I love this show? We have the most amazing guests. Today is no exception. He is a friend of USA Global TV, and before we bring him out, I'm going to bring out this wonderful woman. She has brought so much light and joy to this platform. I really have the utmost respect for her, for the work that she does. She is a longevity strategist and a brain coach and so much more. Let's welcome her to the program. It's Annie. Hi.
Hi there. Thank you, Dr. JACALYN. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you from wherever around the world you're joining Loving Longevity today.
Yes, and this is such a fabulous show. Every week, outstanding guests who are bringing all kinds of wonderful content to help us learn what longevity is and how we can have a longer life that's enjoyable, that we're not wearing a diaper, sitting in a chair like a zombie watching a television, right?
None of that.
None of that. So, Annie, I'm going to spotlight you for people who are just joining us for the first time. Tell them who you are and why this subject of longevity is so near and dear to you.
If you're joining us for the first time, welcome, and I'm glad that you came to join us. Longevity is a passion of mine, as I've been a personal trainer for about a decade, a health coach, and then I got into being a brain health coach. And the health of our brains are our personality, our existence. And we want to be as healthy as we can be today so that we could have optimal health forever. And that's what this is all about, is extending all those healthy years. And we're learning every week. We have a different expert on, or someone with just amazing stories to inspire us all to strive to be as healthy as we can be now, and to have those happy years for as long as we can be. And today we're going to be talking about mindset. And I hate to do this, but are you going to be willing to change your mind about the way you think about things? You know, we tend to think, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I've thought this way all the time. Well, you're going to learn differently today. And one of the things about changing your mind is getting new brain cells to create those new thoughts. And we learned a few weeks ago from Dr. Garland Glenn that yes, you can grow new brain cells, and you can do that with creating, new stem cells. So if this is the first you've heard about the LifeWave stem cell activation patches, real quick, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but these are patches that you wear that will stimulate the growth of new stem cells. And what are stem cells? They're little baby cells that haven't decided what they're going to be yet when they grow up. And the good news for today is they can grow up to be new brain cells. It's called neurogenesis. It's creating new brain cells. And guess what you're going to do with those new brain cells, Dr. JACALYN? You're going to have new happy thoughts.
Woo! Who doesn't like That's fantastic. Thank you. I just wanted to announce something when it comes to longevity. We've talked about this before, and then we'll bring out John. Our friend and team member, Red O'Loughlin, he just finished a 180 and a half hour fast. So in honor of him, I fasted for 12 hours today. Yay. And that was really a lot of work. So I need to learn other
Good for you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Dr. Bredesen calls that the keto flex. You fast for 12 hours a day. So you're on the right track. When it comes to
it'll make a difference?
Yes, it will. And when you fast for at least 12 hours a day, it's called intermittent fasting. that gives your body that time to restore. So good for you.
Right. I'm on the right path. Yay.
Yes, you are.
And I had a slight digression. I started eating sugar after not eating it for years. I started eating it for 4 days. I was eating completely artificial, like 25 ingredients, chocolate fudge donuts.
Were you abducted by aliens?
No, I'm shopping for my mother. And I saw it. I was like, no, don't do it. Thinking she would eat them, and I ended up eating them. So I'm back on the track right now.
You bought them for your mother? We have to talk.
She only eats sugar. Her test results are unbelievable, and she has been eating a diet of mostly sugar I'm telling you, she's an anomaly. All right, enough about that. I just said that on public, Mom. Sorry to the world. Okay. So we have an amazing guest who actually introduced me to you. And I find out backstage that you have met in person twice, which I love. I'm so jealous because this guy is a hottie, right? So Annie, tell our audience about John Christian. Annie, can you hear me?
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were bringing John on.
No. So do you want to introduce John, or do you want me to?
You go ahead. You can.
Okay. So John is a world-renowned entertainer. He is a master level coach. He has gone all over the world. This man has no fear. I'm telling you, he has no fear. And he is not brainwashed by what we hear in the media. He also has a fan club that I want everyone to know about. And he's an expert when it comes to meditation and fitness. So he's the real deal. He's also an actor, and he's got a beautiful voice. He's an amazing singer. He's going to sing for us. So let's welcome from Portugal right now. We don't know where he'll be in a few minutes. I'm kidding. John Christian, the traveler.
Hi, ladies and audience listening and watching.
It's nice to see you again, John. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you. Very good.
Did I miss anything?
God. We're in the sun nearly every day here, except for today. The rain's come in today, so it's been a bit chilly and a bit wet.
Well, we're glad that you're here. And thank you so much for introducing me to Annie. And thank you for introducing me to Roland. And we're happy to have you back on the platform.
Well, it's so nice to see Annie again, and remember our times in Florida. And I love Florida as well. So.
Well, the pictures that we're seeing, there is some similarity between Portugal and Florida.
Yeah, there's a lot, actually.
Well, I'm wondering where I am here in Boca, there's a lot of bricks and buildings. It's even when you get to A1A, which is where the beach is, unless you have a home there on the beach or you're going to a public beach, you can't even see the beach. Right. Which is kind of sad. So
you have to come to Portugal or nip over to Annie.
Anywhere behind, except for this screen. But the good thing is you can pack it up and take it with you. So
yes.
Yeah.
We can broadcast from anywhere.
From anywhere. Exactly.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So John, I would love for you to sing something for us.
Okay, well, I've actually, there's a song by an American singer-songwriter, Eliza Gilkinson, and I heard it a way back, and I put it on one of my albums called One Heart in Time. And I think that's what the song's called. I think it's very applicable to the times we're in. It's applicable to all times, actually, but specifically now, I think. So let me just make sure that I've got everything set up here to sing it. And because I'm singing through my laptop, I don't know what kind of sound you're going to hear vocally. So bear with us on the technical side of it. Hopefully, we're going to be okay. Just a minute. When I was small, my world was magic, but now I'm standing in the battle zone. we're trading beauty for a golden tower. In the darkest hour, before the dawn, one heart in time can save the whole design. Your love and mine is one more heart in time. The night is falling. We must all make choices to raise our voices against the wrong. Poets and dreamers, all you seekers of wisdom, hold to your vision until the dawn. One heart in time can save the whole design. Your love and mine is one more heart in time. Your love and mine is one more heart in time. One more heart in time.
I'm giving you a standing ovation, just so you know.
Hope you are as well, Annie.
I am. So you need to get that theater up in Portugal. You need a stage.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of what we've been through, you know, I really miss performing.
It's in
being
your
with
heart.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key to everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that there's not a theater per se, like a theater district, I guess. So will you go somewhere else where you can perform?
Yeah, over here, as I say, it's very different, obviously, to the UK, where we've got a life around theatre in London and other places. So, of course, there are theatres, but not like in the UK. And there's many super talented people here, but they don't have the opportunities and the outlets like we do in the States and the UK. So, you know, I listen to some of these guys. I was talking to a guy yesterday who sings in the hotel here. And I said, my God, you know, how come you haven't been to England? Because with your talent, he can sing everything. I've not known an artist like him that can sing everything from pop to gospel to opera and does them all superbly well. And he's just here working in the hotels because that's all they can do at the moment. You know? Yeah.
You could be his talent agent.
Well, you know, I was actually saying to him, you know, we'll have to see if we can get you an agent in England. So I've been making them some inquiries for him.
Oh, that's
There
nice.
you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
There you
Really
go.
nice. So today I think we're going to talk about taking accountability, taking personal responsibility. What does
Yeah.
that mean to you, John? And then I'll go over to you, Annie.
Yeah. Were you handing to Annie then? Or,
No, to you.
yeah. Yeah. To me now, with my life's experience and with the mentors I've had too, and the many hours and hours and hours I've done as a coach and a trainer in seminars, etc., and as a performer, you know, the most important thing that we need to learn to take responsibility for, respond with ability for, is trusting our intuition. Because to me, that is a higher faculty of our intelligence consciousness. But in our Western systems particularly, we've been raised to kind of discard that. I remember when I was at school, it was just your imagination, stop imagining these things. But now I think people are beginning to wake up that, we need to realize that there's other ways to do things. And we all know intuitively the right way to think and behave, but we've not been raised to be conscious enough of knowing, how can I know I shouldn't have said that? How can I know I shouldn't have done that? How can I know I shouldn't be behaving like this? And yet be so intelligent to know that, but not skilled enough on the conscious level to do something about it. And that's what we need to change.
Great answer. Thank you. Annie, would you like to add something to that?
Yes. And because I deal with the older population, and I think that's part of what grew this show, is my experience now with people that are in their 70s and 80s and 90s. And we're trying to teach them new habits, which start with thinking about things differently. And how many times I've heard, oh, I'm too old to change, right? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And to me, it's a willingness to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you talk about taking personal responsibility for your thoughts and actions, the first, to me, it's like even a step back and say, am I willing to change? Am I willing to see this differently? And
then just
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, what I observe as I go around the world is that people just don't have the know-how how to do that. Because they've not been exposed to understanding how their own consciousness works and the power of thoughts, or to understand, I have much more to my consciousness than just this thinking mind. There's much more going on within me, but the mind hasn't been taught how to turn in and access what we call the subconscious or the superconscious self. That's why we labor the issues and we get stuck, because people's mind, we do know, people say to me, I don't know how to do that. When all the time in the next breath, they'll tell you how to do it. Right. And that's the confusion between the surface thinking personality or ego, as we call it, to training that thinking process to access those deeper levels of our own intelligence that basically speaks to us more, not through thought so much, but the feelings of the heart.
So where does our inner critic come into play in all of this?
Great question. I love it. Okay.
That's why they keep me around here.
Yeah, right. So the inner critic gets a bad rap because it's a critic, But if we look at that and go, just a minute, like, why do I criticize myself so much? Primarily, it's because we've been taught to believe, and it's a false belief, that in order to learn and grow, you've got to push yourself or judge yourself. So in religious terminology, it's, God's watching you and you better suffer, because if you're not suffering enough, you're not doing a good job, and maybe God won't love you at the end of the day. In the system I grew up in, it was like the teachers saying, if you can't read properly and add up properly, there's something wrong with you. When actually that's completely untrue, and we know that instinctively and intelligently. But because we've learned to think and believe, oh God, if I do something wrong, I've got to finger wag at myself, I've got to judge myself, then one day maybe I'll become a better person. One day, if it's spiritual, maybe God will love me, or maybe my partner will love me if I give myself enough justification to self-judge. But when you look at that, it does nothing but make you do it more, and it's not self-love and it's not self-respect. It's an erroneous belief that, in the context of the show tonight, ages us.
Mm-hmm.
So the critic, if you look at it in the positive sense, sorry, Annie, in the positive sense, if you reshape that thinking and go, wait a minute, what am I trying to do when I'm criticizing myself? I'm actually trying to make myself better. So this is a crazy way to do it. So does that work for me? This is what I've had to learn to do. Does it work to think like that about myself and other people? No, never. What does it mean energetically? Every time I think a negative thought like that, my energy drops, my mind gets duller, my heart sinks, my emotions go blah, 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 and then I feel horrible. So is that really how I want to learn and grow and live? No. So my belief system has to change throughout my life. That's what I'm constantly.
And for a lot of people, they've not known anything different.
Exactly.
So they've so identified
Yeah.
to that personality.
Mm-hmm.
So to make that leap, to start making those changes, how do you help people take that first step?
Yeah. It's like play with it. The spiritual teachings say, make yourself like a child. So I'll say, especially if I'm working with children, when that little critical voice comes into your brain, say to it, thank you, but no thanks.
I love it.
Simply that. Thank you, but no thanks. Thank you, because when you come into my mind, I feel you. I feel what you do to my brain. I feel what you do to my feelings. And I know, instinctively, I know I don't want to be feeling like that. So I've got to catch that. I've got to know that. And I've got to say to it, thank you very much, but I'm not going to give you the attention I've been taught to give you. So what do I do instead? I've got to be aware that I can make a different thought. So if I'm working with kids, I say, what would you like to think instead? I'd like to think happy. I'd like to think I love my mummy. I'd like to think I'm playing with my friends. That's great, fantastic. So every time that critic comes in like that, just say to it, thank you very much, playmate. Thanks for testing me. Thanks for testing me to give you all my attention and make myself feel bad, but I'm not going to do it anymore.
And I think adults should keep it that simple too.
Absolutely.
Adopt that beginner's mind all over again. Adopt that child's mind all over again, and do exactly what you just described.
Yeah.
Because we tend to overthink everything.
Everything at all.
Everything. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of just having this conversation with each other and sharing it with the audience. This, for me, is the kind of forum we need worldwide now, where we can really talk with each other about how's that function work? Where do I learn that from? Does it really work? Should I really believe in that way that this is how to learn and grow, when it's just fabrications of the mind? So when I've sat in my training programs, I've observed I've got one person who's in heaven, and right next to them is somebody who's in hell. And you go, okay, this is fascinating. How can that be? They're sitting in each other's energy field. One's in hell, one's in heaven. So what's the function? The only difference is mind is the builder. Exactly right. Yeah. So my task in that moment is to, help this person who's in hell in that moment rise in their thinking by just simply focusing on something that distracts their attention from the negative, right? Like, notice the person next to you. How come that they're feeling like that and you're feeling like this? And let's work with understanding. It's only a mindset. But that's the most difficult thing, as you just said, Annie. The more you get caught in the habit, the harder to break the habit, because it's a flow of energy. So we get caught in the energy flow and then we lose ourselves. If we know it's only energy, and if we know I can be in the driving seat of my energy because I'm causing myself to feel like this, and yet while I'm doing it, I know in my heart of hearts, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to be thinking like this. I don't want people to look at me like that. I just haven't been given the skill to know how to think the first thought that says, okay, thanks very much, but no thanks.
Right. It's that pivot point. It's catching it, and it's catching that thought and doing the pivot like you just described before it gains momentum.
Yes, absolutely so.
You know, because once it gets more energy and momentum, guess what? The next thought's going to come right behind it. The next negative thought's going to come right behind it, and it's like you're in the rat maze.
Yeah,
like a herd of buffalo that are just taking you down.
So we've been fortunate enough to have lifestyles that have helped us to learn to be aware of that. And we're fortunate enough now to share this with other people. But for me, this should be the foundation principle in every education system. Then you and I wouldn't be trying to unlearn what we learned.
It's incredible. Since I started doing the show, this platform, I have all these notepads. I take notes after every show. There's so much that they don't teach us in school, in the education system, that by having conversations like this that we learn, and meanwhile paying for higher education, they never taught us.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So John and Annie, how does our mindset and the taking accountability and responsibility and keeping that inner critic at bay, how does that affect our longevity?
Annie,
John, you first.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm 74 right now, and I just feel younger and younger, energetically, because I've learned how these things work. So for me, longevity is just feeling good in your own skin and doing what you know in your heart is necessary mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I emphasize spiritually. And what I mean in that is that spirit is the breath. It's the very breath of life itself. You know, so in spiritual teaching, they will say, you know, God breathed into the earth, but the earth knew it not, or the darkness, but the earth knew it not. So it's talking about you and I. There's part of us that doesn't know, and it's part of us that knows. And when we teach the part of us that doesn't know, that has not been educated properly, to turn to the heart where we know, we start thinking properly and our energy rises. And the more you do it, like Annie was saying, it's the snowball effect. The more you do it, the more the energy changes in the physical body, and the more the cells of your body start going, whoa, hey, do you know what? This feels great. I love being in this body. I love being in this life. Let's do some more of it. That's how it works.
I love it. Annie?
And dovetailing off of what John just said, every cell in your body listens to every thought that you have. And every cell in your body responds to every thought that you have. So if you're caught in the negative thought wheel, you're creating, and you know, from a brain health standpoint, you're creating cortisol, which is a stress hormone that's going to cause inflammation in your body, which is going to cause disease. So we can make a direct connection between negative thoughts and disease.
Yeah, absolutely.
And right. And we know when we have a negative thought because it doesn't make us feel good. And this is where the mind-body connection comes, because we don't feel good because that's not how our inner being sees something. That's not how the spirit within us is seeing it. We're seeing it differently. And the reason why we feel bad is because of that conflict. And we know when we're on the right track and we're resolving that negative thought when we start feeling better, because we're in more what we call alignment, right, with our inner being. So connecting the brain and the mind and spirit, changing your thoughts so that you change your cellular makeup. And then, like when you said, then your body's happy, that your brain is happy, that you're thinking these happy thoughts, less disease, less inflammation. So with longevity in mind, a happier life.
Yeah.
So a follow-up question I have for both of you. John, in the example you gave with the two children, one in happy and the other one not. So what if someone that you live with, you work with, you are forced to, when I say forced, but you're in a situation, what if they're not as enlightened as you and you have to be in the environment with that person? and you try not to, I don't want to say try, but you don't want to respond, but yet you're affected.
Yeah, life's a school. We've come here to become conscious.
Right.
And so now I've learned to understand everything that happens in your life is a mirror of what's going on at some level in you, and very often on the deep unconscious level. So relationships are the perfect mirror, because that's where we tend to know, oh, as a fellow human being, I can relate to this. So, so we tend to open ourselves more, or we want to open ourselves more, but we show each other. Every time we open our mouth, we show a person what's inside our mind, right? So we're constantly kind of testing one another on deeper levels. When they said that, what do they really mean? It's like, what do they really go? And you try and weigh it against your heart. So there's this constant mirroring, learning process going on, where in every relationship you can learn if you're willing to. And it's very often the most challenging relationships that are the deepest test for you, in your own mind, in your own heart, in your own feelings, because often we behave like victims, and that is, you said that, so now I feel really bad because you said that. But when you think of it like this, nobody lives inside your body but you. So who finally decides how you want to think and how you want to feel and how you want to behave? So when you're in a challenging relationship, if you play with it like that, right now this person is testing the hell out of me. So what do I believe right now that's making me feel so upset when I know I don't want to be feeling like this? So what's my belief? What am I putting into the pot?
I love that.
Yeah.
On one of our shows this week, I'm not going to say which one, kind of as a segue, there was a person commenting, and they were not commenting nice things. And there was a lot of engagement from the audience, and I was waiting to see how the other people would respond. Obviously, I wasn't going to address it or put the comments up, but it was so wonderful to see these other people who don't know this person said, we're here for you. You obviously are going through struggles, but we're here for you. If you want to reach out, we want you to love yourself. And it was just so nice to see strangers from across the world actually trying to help this person out. This person was filled with so much anger towards the guest that it's kind of a reflection of what's going on in the world, really.
You can guarantee that anybody who's behaving like that, in that moment, they just don't feel good. Right. They don't feel good inside themselves. They don't feel loved. They don't feel understood. And they're trying to let you know that.
Right.
So the biggest test of all is to return compassion, humility, understanding, and love when somebody's throwing that kind of stuff at you. But as you do that, you become what the spiritual masters call being a master in your own body, in your own universe, in your own world. So actually, if you can go, do you know what? This is a great test that God's just sent into my life right here, right now, to show me that person inside me and how I am being tempted to behave in return.
Yes.
Are we to the extent that there is something unresolved that you still need to deal with, and that's why the lesson is being brought to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I find.
Yeah. I think so too. It was obvious this person had something with the guest that they had. I don't know if they had a connection or not, but there was something unresolved between the two of them. And he stayed around for the whole show to put his negative energy out there. Yeah. So I hope he found some love in the meantime. But John, I've shared this before. You actually did a live coaching session with me when we had a show together. It was so helpful. I want to make sure that people know, in addition to the beautiful work that you put out with your voice in singing, that you also are a trainer and a coach, and you have courses that people can take. So can you share more about that?
Yeah, I have a 10-module course, which is a collection of modules for the stages that I've been through in my life, that I've recognized we're all going through, just in our own way, at different levels, at different times. My mentors have helped me at certain stages. So I've put the course around, obviously, my own personal experience and the things I've learned from spiritually enlightened gurus, martial artists, indigenous people, where I've traveled around the world seeking to understand these things and the way different people understand them. So the course is based on that, and I tailor that to the individual as we go through the course. So if anybody's interested, they can drop me a line at john@lifebalanceportal.com. That's the email. My website is www.lifebalanceportal.com.
It's a mouthful. How did you come up with the name of your website?
How did I come to it?
Yes.
Because I've learned through my own experience, how often have I been out of balance in my life, either because of self-consciousness or because of only striving for fame and fortune and leaving my spirit behind. All of those kind of things. Life has taught me on that journey. Oh my God, it's fine developing your intellect, or it's fine developing your body. But how many of us are developing the spirit, the breath, the breathing, the life, the vitality, the longevity? How many of us are giving attention to the most important thing that sustains life? The oneness between us. It makes us all feel good.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the breath. Can you describe some of the techniques that you have for your breath work that really help people connect with that inner being and their inner self?
Yeah. Most of us, again, because we live in our heads primarily. That's the habit, the thinking, but we don't take time to sit quietly and take the focus, the attention of the thinking into the breath. And for me, I have to say, in all honesty, I can use different terms to describe it, but spiritually, the breath is God to me. So we couldn't be closer to God, which actually means good, for want of a better word, really, the good in ourselves. We couldn't be closer unless the mind is not paying attention. So you bring the mind to the breath, a very simple exercise that people can do. Sit quietly, just count your breath. 1, 2, 3, in. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale slowly. And as you do, relax. 1, 2, 3. Or create a rhythm that works for you, because everybody's in a different place. So that's a very simple exercise. There are more advanced breathing techniques that I've learned through martial arts and some yoga and other forms study like that, that all really work because they bring you into your body, where I've had people say to me, oh my God, it's like, I didn't even know I could breathe like that, and I didn't even know I could feel my feet. How long have I been in this body and I didn't even know I've got feet? but breathing like that has made me feel this body's alive. Oh my God, I'm not just the mind. So abdominal breathing is great as well, and it's not easy to show you through the screen here right now, but I can do that for you sometime. An easy way to do it actually is put one hand on your chest and one hand on your tummy, and when you take a breath, just notice where the energy goes. For a lot of people, they breathe upper chest like that, so it's like that. Right, and that means you're only using the upper lobes of the lung, not the whole lung. If you put a hand on your tummy, relax down, and instead of like that, relax that habit down into the awareness, relax, and then breathe. So as you breathe in, the breath pushes the tummy out, the hand out. And then as you breathe out slowly, the tummy sinks back in. And that's beautiful to do that. I've just done that with a friend who's a high executive, owns 3 companies. We did that for 5 minutes, and she said, oh my God, I haven't felt like this in my whole life. And that was like 5 minutes of just getting back in, all the stress breathed out, all the company stuff from the day out of the body.
See, and anyone at any age, because you're sitting on a couch. If somebody can't even get off the couch, they can do this breathing technique, and in 5 minutes what they're doing is they're activating their parasympathetic nervous system, right?
Yes.
And calming down.
Yes.
And when your cortisol levels are down and you're calmed down, it's easier than to have those lighter thoughts.
Yes.
You're opening the door. There's less resistance there.
Yeah. The yogis call it what's called prana or chi and other terms in the East. And that's the most important thing to them is you've got to know how to connect with the chi and put the chi in the body, like putting the petrol in the tank for the car. If you're not breathing properly, you're not putting the life force in, or you're not breathing good into the body. So how can you expect God to help you if you're not even letting him in? Right. So there's sayings that we are God's hands and mouth and eyes, and we are made in the likeness of God. For me personally, I absolutely believe what's going on in the world right now is the light of this intelligent universe, God, testing us all to make the decision to stand and be counted by doing what this body instinctively knows it needs to do in order to be alive and happy and enjoy life. Breathe properly, eat properly, drink properly, think properly, speak properly, exercise properly, all of the common sense things.
I was just going to say, and most people intellectually know what those things are.
Yeah, we know it intuitively.
Right. And that's why we're having this discussion about taking responsibility.
Yeah.
And being willing and saying, when I shouldn't say this, but when I would train women, right? I said, it's time to put your big girl panties on, right? And take responsibility for what you're eating and you're drinking and how much sleep you're getting. But what we're talking about today is being responsible for your thoughts and what actions you're taking based on those thoughts.
Yeah. And keep it simple. There's a saying, the truth is simple and it will set you free. So to yourself be true. Who is the real self? To me, the real self I've discovered in me is that intuitive voice, often referred to as the still small voice behind all the other voices. So every time I quieten all the other voices, which means calm the energy and bring it back to source, back to the heart, back to the solar plexus, sit quietly with it, then inspiration comes out of that wellspring. And I hear more clearly what I was hearing all along. I just didn't sit down, shut up and listen. And then when I look at that and I go, no wonder my life went in the wrong direction there, because I knew I shouldn't have done that. Right. And now it's taken me years to get back on track because my mind just wasn't trained and disciplined enough to sit down, shut up and get back on track.
So what's the saying? Ego speaks first and loudest.
I don't know exactly what the Buddhists say it like this. They say there's only one enemy, guess who it is, and there's only one battle, and guess who it's with.
There you go.
Yes.
So basically, get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Right.
And start now.
Yes.
Right. And a lot of people too, they can't make a decision on their own. They don't have enough confidence, right? And so every thought that they have to go take it out to the committee.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's their spouse, their neighbor, their friend, their brother, their sister, it's this, they're taking a vote in the survey to see if it's the right thought to have.
Well, if we think of it like this, look at the bigger picture. We've come here on this earth to learn how to co-create in accordance to the laws of the universe or God, or whichever way you want to say it. So if we seek to understand the laws of nature, which are written in our own heart and tells us when we've just broken them because we feel it, right? If we seek to understand that, then we're taking responsibility for tuning in properly, listening properly, learning to trust ourself again, the real self. The real self is the me that knew all along. So what's the false self? It's this thing called the ego. What's that really? It's just a collection of energy that has contained within it my upbringing, my thoughts, my beliefs, my false beliefs that I'm only this body, I'm only this mind, and that means that I'm not enough. And because I'm not enough, I've got to seek some poor unsuspected person and make them completely responsible for my mind, my heart, my feelings, my sexuality. But I'm not going to tell them that. I'm going to say, I'm in love with you. But actually, really what I'm saying is, from this moment on, you're responsible for making me feel loved.
Yeah.
You
Oh my
better
God.
not say anything. You better not do anything that makes me think you're not behaving according to what I believe you should be doing and saying, that I can say, oh, that means you love me.
It's all interconnected.
Oh my gosh, we could do a whole program just on that.
We could. And unfortunately, we have to go because the Pet Psychic show is coming up. So I feel like we're just hanging out, three friends hanging out,
I
having
know.
a chat about what's really important in life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shakespeare called it the comedy of error. So if we're willing to look at life in that way, oh my God, look how I've learned to screw up and get in my own way. Does that mean there's something wrong with me? No, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me. It never did. It means I came here to learn, and to learn that moving my energy like that doesn't work. So if I'm willing to go, hey, do you know what? I just really screwed up. So I'm not going to beat the hell out of myself. I'm going to go, I screwed up. So I take full responsibility for the fact that I just screwed up. I own it. I apologize for it to myself, to whoever I'm doing it with. I correct it, realign my energy, and let's go to the next lesson.
There you
Quick
go.
question as a follow-up to that, because this had happened to me. What happens when you take responsibility and you apologize and the person won't accept your apology?
Yeah. Yeah. We've all
Bye.
been in those moments. So again, you see, if you think the only person you've come to be true to is yourself. So in that moment, such a person is testing you and your mind. And they're saying, okay, do you know your own mind? Do you know your own heart? Do you know yourself well enough to decide how you're going to choose to feel in your own body because of the way I'm behaving in front of you right now? All right. So if you know yourself, you'll feel good about yourself and you'll be true to yourself. And then whatever I say, it might affect you, but not to the point where you lose yourself in the process.
Great way to end the show, John. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
And again, for people who want to reach out and work with you, contact you, what's the best way?
Yeah, please go to the website, lifebalanceportal.com. Drop me an email, john@lifebalanceportal.com. I'd love to hear from you. Let me just show you this. This is my little book, How to Develop Intuitive Intelligence. So I can send you that as a free ebook. And we can talk about doing the online training program together if you'd like to do that, because it's just great fun and we learn and grow with each other. I grow every time I work with somebody. It's always about me too.
And think about how much fun you'll have working with John. I highly recommend it.
I hope so. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again for being here, John. Go ahead, Annie.
As I said, and it's like John said, it's co-creating together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if we can just to finish very quickly on that, more and more people are rising up to doing that now. Unfortunately, it's the catalyst of what's going on that's making people rise up. But if we can collectively help each other just to realize, look, when we join together like this with the right purpose of what's in our hearts, what we know is right, then we lift the whole world closer to what we call God on the planet.
Beautiful.
In this lifetime. That's longevity in this body.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And again, it's good to see you. Keep coming around.
Yeah.
You can't die anyway. That's a really important thing. Okay. I've been out of my body. You cannot die. You try it. Close your eyes and try and not be conscious. It's impossible.
I've got to be conscious because I'm running this.
Yeah, go on.
She'll go meditate later.
Exactly.
She'll go meditate later. John, thank you so much for coming out of hiding in Portugal and coming on the show. We've missed you.
What about your fan club? Can people sign up? Is it by invitation only, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, no, that actually a friend of mine very kindly from Slovenia put that up. It's John Christian's fan club. It's not something I would have called it myself. She designed it for me as a fan. So I went, oh, that's sweet. So anyway, so that's what's running in the background from, and it's kind of like a hangover from my pop star performer days.
Well,
It's on Facebook.
Huh?
It's on Facebook. That's where people can go to join, right?
Yes, on Facebook. Yeah, so you can find me, John W. Christian, on Facebook, or drop me an email and I'll send you the link.
All right.
We're going to
Thank you,
resurrect
John W.
We're going to resurrect your fan club.
Yay.
Thank you. It's empowering.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I know it's much later there, so thank you for staying up with us while other people are enjoying their Friday night doing other things. We're enjoying ourselves right here.
Yeah, Friday night. Yeah.
Thank you for being here with us.
You know, I have to walk down the street every night, and it's just bars, and I look at all these young people that are mindless.
Hey, John, they're learning their lessons.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying, I didn't mean it to sound probably the way it did. I actually meant it from, if only we had something else in place where they didn't feel they had to drown their feelings to feel good.
Yes.
I've done it, so I can't judge them.
Right. And like I said, they're out learning their lessons. We've all been there, done that. Yeah. And that's why we love longevity now.
Yes.
Right? Because we are wiser for it.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, John. We'll be in touch. Enjoy your weekend.
Take care.
Thank you very much. You too. Lovely to see you, ladies. Bye, audience, wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
Bye. Yeah. Annie, we've got your information here. I'm going to spotlight you. Can you share with people about how to get the activation patches, please?
Right. So we talked about, creating new thoughts, new positive thoughts, and it's easier to have new thoughts when you can have new stem cells and new brain cells, because it's called neurogenesis, is creating new brain cells. So you're creating new connections. So it's easier to have those positive thoughts, and you'll do it with the LifeWave patches. So you would just unpeel it like it's a little Band-Aid and put it on, and it works, but with light. There's little crystals inside of these patches, and your body heat activates the crystals and sends light waves down into your body that activates your stem cells. Just like the sun, when it hits your skin creates vitamin D. That's how the patches work. The light from the patches create and go down into your pathways into your body and create new stem cells. So you can either contact me if you have questions about the patches. You can contact me at yourtotalbody@yahoo.com. Or if you want to go ahead and look at the patches, you can go to www.lifewave.com/timeless-aging. That's the website. Again, you can contact me. The easiest way, since we're in a global environment here, is via email. It's yourtotalbody@yahoo.com. Or you can go straight to the website and look at the patches at lifewave.com/timeless-aging, because that, Dr. JACALYN, is what we are all about here at Loving Longevity, is timeless aging.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Annie. Another brilliant show. Great to be here with you and John today. I really had a lot of fun and learned a lot as well.
We learned it, and we know this. We're never too old to change the way we think.
No, it's true.
No,
it's true.
Every day we have trillions of thoughts a day, and everyone is an opportunity to change the way you think.
I like it.
Yeah. It's just being willing to, and taking responsibility, just like John said.
And for all of you out there who are watching, listening, whether it's on the live or the replay, please take that as a personal commitment to be accountable and responsible for your own behavior. I feel like there's so much judging and blaming that goes on in this world. And if we actually just look at what we're doing ourselves, how we're carrying out our actions, how we're helping or not helping other people, how we're listening, not listening to other people, let's just take responsibility for our own actions.
Yep. Yes.
All right. Thank
and
you
have
so
a little
much for
fun.
being here. We have to close out because the other
Oh,
show is coming.
okay.
All
All right,
right.
say hi to Emma for me.
I will. I surely will. All right. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. JACALYN.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching and engaging, whether you watch us on the live or the replay. You can watch our shows on our website, usaglobaltv.com. You can also watch on our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. If you're over there now, please go ahead and click subscribe so you can receive reminders of all of our shows. We have between 17 and 20 live shows every week. If you'd like to be a guest, you can go to our website. What is it? Yes, that's right. usaglobaltv.com. Book your session. Okay, that's all for now. I will be coming right back with Pet Psychic Amina, so you can stay where you are and I'll run to the other studio. God bless you. Take care of yourselves and we'll see you again shortly. Thank you.